Thank you.
Hi, everybody. This is Joanna, and thank you so much for our special guest edition of the Early Morning Ascension Show. And we've got our beautiful Ascension guest and a great colleague of mine that we have had many conversations about the process and the unfolding of Ascension. And we're bringing these experiences forward for many of those that are going through awakening, whether it just be the initial stages, whether you've been on the path for quite some time. We've written 3 books about Ascension, and the beauty and the elegance that I've experienced with spirit has been my most enjoyable part, is the various ways that one can experience spirit in the awakening process, and how you become so alive with spirit in the trees and in the flowers and in the nature, all that is the harmonic resonance of source. And that is the many gifts that spirit offers you, is the ability to read and to be a part of spirit's offering and the blessing that is spirit. And so today we wanted to talk about, we're going to keep the videos shorter. Today what we wanted to talk about, I think, Christina, you wanted to have a topic of Ascension about soul blueprints and the variations that people go through in Ascension, and how unique it is, and how we can easily adapt, because it's all about adaptation right now as we're accelerating, is adapt to the quickening experiences that everyone is having, the quickening of reality, the shifting and the changing, where we're feeling compressed to fit our routines, our dense routines, into a lighter frequency, which is becoming more and more challenging, and why people feel kind of stretched and pulled. So let's talk about that, because it's something that everybody goes through, how to transition into a more flowing, natural experience, and perhaps the variations that people might feel they're going through, and how to kind of release themselves from the guilt or the shame or the blame that they might be wanting to compare and judge themselves about where they're at, or try and keep up with others, which is, we all do it because we all see ourselves in such a, our collective is all online now. So it's like everything has numbers to it and followers and all of those things, when we can just sit back and relax and know that everything is at a perfect pace based on your own creative spirited oneness with spirit. So let's dive in. This is Christina. Thank you again, Christina, for joining us today.
Hi.
Yeah. So,
yes, I'm so grateful for you wanting to address this topic, because it is so important, as we've discussed, that there's no 2 people have the same path, and to get caught in that is just release it, just release it, and knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, whether you're just awakening today, or you thought you were awake and then all of a sudden you realize there's so many other layers, which there are so many layers to all of us. And that is the beautiful onion that we are. I mean, I know I've learned so much from you, and even today I feel like I'm awakening more to something new. It hasn't stopped. It's been a decade-long process. Yeah. And the more you can be patient and be grounded, you will really be surprised at the people that will come into your life that will match your vibration. And I obviously think of you as I'm saying this, that just give you this new perspective, and they just show you something that you never even knew.
Yeah, well, I think that when we were talking earlier, because I've written about it in my books, about when you first awaken and you have all of these friends that are going into the awakening communities, and the coaching and the classes and the teams, and there's so many infinite ways that one can experience Ascension. There is no one right way. There's no questionnaires that anyone can fit inside as far as where they're at and what to experience, because everyone comes with unique souls. Everyone comes with the threadings of their soul circle and the families they belong to, which affects their environment, which affects their fields and their chakras and their bodies and their cells. It affects the beliefs that they come within, social, family, lineage, the Akash and the social systems of their experiences that they've been in. So it's really an infinite array of basket and threading that each belong to and with. And so it's important that we always return within about the fascination of our own uniqueness, of our own self-guidance, of our own beauty, the inner threading and the tapestry that we each are with spirit. And that should be the only recollection and review of who we are within anything, is within ourselves with spirit. It's that ever layer upon layer upon layer within ourselves, because as we're moving through the process of awakening as a collective, those that are empaths and those that are awakening to their gifts and even harmonizing within their soul, as they call in those soul experiences and those soul fragments, if you will, or perspectives or timelines that have been healed, you are also adding to the complement of the quantum omnipresent field of not only yourself and the soul that has just been harmonized as your acceptance, your allowance, and your love of who you are in the flow of spirit, but also to those that are around you are also being harmonized in a lighter quotient of light and a collective of light. So there's always, always, always an infinite now moment of what's being harmonized, of what's being neutralized, if you will. And so, as we talked about earlier, when we're expanding into this experience of a collective now changing, we can all feel the subtle shifts in our collective. Many things of the constructed systems of limitation and fear-based experiences that we were pushed into and defined within and boxes placed around, they're all coming down and being shaken up, and it's meant to be that way. We're now going to flip everything upside down and understand that to live within the 5D perspective of what ascension is really all about, what enlightenment, self-actualization, we can just relax and just understand that when we're aligning with spirit, the joy of spirit, the creativity of spirit, and just allow that natural flow to occur, how you're meant to be on your path and the purpose that you take and the destiny that you take can be a wide array of twists and turns. Because as these deconstructed systems are now coming down and toppling, depending on where you're at in your own unique life, whether it be a family circle, whether you be transitioning out of a relationship, whether you be transitioning into a new relationship, wherever you are at, and all are infinitely unique. You might be pulled by your teams and by spirit based on how much you've awoken, based on what your skills and your gifts are awakening to, what your excitement is to create with the co-creative collective, to offer an assistance of healing, to offer an assistance of rewriting, to offer an assistance of resolve. You might take these twists and turns to help rebuild something. You might want to stay back and help a friend do something. You might want to move ahead and go over here and create Gaia for someone else to step into. So we have no idea of the infinite threads and layers and levels that every and any one path can take based on its excitement. And it's really all about the excitement of how you are harmonizing within your greater gifts. And just knowing that when you assimilate with the highest perspective of joy and natural flow of God and natural flow of source and natural flow of light, the oscillation and the light within your cells will keep you on that excited experience of who you are. In that, you're transmuting a lot of the densities that you don't necessarily have to sit and call forward anymore, because they're just going to be harmonized into that highest perspective of who you know yourself to be as a sacred child. So they're showing me, so I guess if you can call it math, I'm sure it is, because it's a quantum physics experience. If you're, remember the Vesica Pisces, if you're going through an experience of the 3D, if you're any one moment right now, if you're constantly doing your perspective of exciting, your anticipation for joy, your anticipation for light, your anticipation for excitement with spirit, your anticipation of miracles, and right now you're choosing to be your highest self through the neutrality of the mother and the father and this divine sacred heart, just living in the presence of joy and oneness. Whatever comes up for you to be released through the chakra systems, this energy over here, through which you're constantly living in the excitement of who you are, because you're honoring that sacred child, you're bringing that sacred child up every day to play with you, and you're constantly filling your vortex up with adventure and excitement and curiosity. That vortex of energy is far more in abundance of, they're showing me it in a number. It is far more abundant in its quotient of light than the releases that you're releasing. So you don't have to stay here that long. Whereas we were going through a dark night of the soul, and sometimes it would be 2 weeks, you know, because that dark night of the soul probably could have been 3 really traumatic lifetimes where there was a lot of destruction, you know.
Joanna,
Yeah.
can I just ask you, so
Yeah.
if someone's maybe not even used to being attuned with themselves, what would your recommendation be for them to get in tune with this? If they're awakening now, right, and they're saying, okay, I know I'm 3D, want to get to 5D. What suggestion would you have? Maybe some morning affirmations or something like that to try to connect with that heart-centered higher self, to bring in these downloads if they're not fully connected with themselves? Or
yes, and that's just,
okay.
realizing, who we are as the multidimensional experience. Like, when you're doing your daily self-care, have your journal ready and just sit with intention. I'm going to sit and align with who I am as spirit. Because remember, the upside down experience, 3D, we were absolutely understanding our self-worth and our self-value and our self-definition to be outside of ourselves, because that's the society we created. That's the separation factor. So in the process of awakening, as much and as often as we can, whether it's through affirmations, whether it's through your journaling work, whether it's through your meditation practice, whether it's through your sacred, ascension and self-actualization group work and vocational work, which we also offer, but it's returning yourself to self as often as possible so that you get used to understanding yourself as a whole spirit. The energies of your soul come up to live with you, and then you'll feel the difference. You'll feel the difference because you're intending to feel yourself as the light of your soul, as the experience of your soul, as the transcensions of your soul, because again, you have infinite soul aspects that have had also other lifetimes where you've transcended. So when you call up your soul to live with you, you can feel it. It's a vibration. If you tune into it, you can begin to feel your soul living with you. And that's getting used to living as the Vesica Pisces and the vortex of who you are as light and love and magnetic systems of honor, which is also connected with, again, the sacred triad of your collective and Gaia. So there's always an infinite amount of connective energy vibrations that you can feel into, but it always begins with returning to who you are as spirit. Who am I? What do I exist within as the perspective of all that is light potential? Light potential meaning that the cosmos, the systems, the universe, who your cells are, what your biochemistry is, understanding light within itself as a song, as a harmonic, as a sacred geometry, as the sacred light language in the spirit that is source, everything within you that is a song of God. And it's up to each person to connect that because it's always unique. My connection with spirit, what might look like this, yours might look like that, yours might look like that. It's all different because it's sacred geometry. It's a unique song. It's a unique essence, like a fingerprint. And that's why going within and starting to absolutely recognize how beautifully important and treasured and unique every single imprint of God is, spirit is, source is, and constant returning to center. So we have the value, and this is what our whole collective is rebuilding. And all of our economic systems will shift into socio-altruism because we're going to begin to see the rewrite and the care, because we're rewriting the care of our self-importance. We're creating that self-importance through spirit, and everything within that spirit, as we said, I can't remember if it was in a class or a film. Oh, it was in the class this morning. As we harmonize and understand that we're nourishing that imprint, that fingerprint with spirit, it's like the soul fingerprint. Yeah, it's like a fingerprint because it's always unique to each person. And it's a vibration. It's a harmonic vibration, a sacred geometry, a sacred song. It's like your song, your name is a song. As you continue to nourish that sacred fingerprint with spirit, you will absolutely come up with the sacred gifts that are yours. Maybe you're here to help rewrite anthropology through a vibration. Maybe you're here to help with a healing modality that's never been discovered before because it's in your soul's experience and transcension experience. Everything is vibration. If you've had 2 lifetimes where you've transcended and you were a healer on a specific planet, maybe the Pleiades, you're going to carry that in your vibrational Akash, that toolkit that you can just open and take from. And this is why many of us are now opening to our vibrational gifts, because there's been a lot of karma clearing, that we're coming forward with gifts that we just don't have words for, and it's okay that we don't put names to it. We're just explaining how we can see, feel, and sense energy because we're now operating as a soul. And just to allow the natural flow of it will allow any discovery of vocation, where you want to be directed, how you want to get excited. That will be the natural unflowing, because if you're in natural flow, it will be a natural unflowing of your excitements and where you want to direct them.
So if we want to give somebody an example, say, everybody's busy, right? And they're like, I don't even have time. I can journal at night, but I can't journal in the morning. Could we say, we'll give an example of just even before you get in the shower, or maybe even while you're in the shower, just put your hand over your heart and just say, today I intend to connect with my heart-centered higher self. And I wish to better understand me and clear out any densities that may be around me.
Yeah, and just yeah,
Just,
and yes, your intention to live as the harmony of who you are as light, right? Because your
oh,
light,
that's beautiful. I like
because
that.
you're
You said it better.
yeah, because your light aligns. You can just call your pillar of light, and your pillar of light aligns your chakras. It's a natural
Mhm.
alignment mechanism, right? And it flows the codes that it needs. It flows the light that it needs. It flows, the connectiveness. And so you can play again, because each person is creative. Each person has a different experience. Some might have a visual experience. Some might have the interpretation of color. Some might have the interpretation of tapestry, because people have different gradations through which they can see the visionary experience, if you will. As we said yesterday, when we're picking my 5D oracle cards, when we say, multidimensional visionary, it's not necessarily sight. It's how the multidimensional systems can interpret and direct and process information, translate it into the best words that we can, but are not necessarily through the perspective of seeing. There's many different things that a visionary can experience. And so they're vibrational stories and impacts and tapestries. And so that isn't a gift in and of itself, and assists us in healing the multidimensional systems and see into the infinite intelligence that is held within every chakra. And your multidimensional excellence, if we will, your magnificence, is what keeps the nutrients and nourishment of your light body, the matter body that is becoming more and more light. And it's far beyond what we can explain in any one class or show. We are just learning how profound we are as bodies and temples of sacredness. Thank you, Spirit.
We're excellent. We got to start acting like it.
Yeah. And so did you have any questions about, they were just showing me something that I channeled the other day on the pineal and the biosphere of our planet, but that will take a whole other show. So we'll talk about
Oh, that sounds very interesting. Okay, let's table that. Yeah.
So any further questions that you have about the path of ascension? We wanted to just inspire everyone to just be in the perfection of who they are, release any expectations from the egocentric belief systems that we have about the beliefs that we've all grown up within, physical, mental, emotional, social, dogmatic, about having to work for value, having to output for the inner value of perfection. You're always and infinitely born perfect, and you don't have to do anything or possess a certain grade or do extra work or have yourself do anything outside of simply being to have sources, value and appreciation, which is always unconditional and always there. And so it's really important to release all of those experiences in which you feel triggered to be any different, get any more, be any way than you are right now, and just allow yourself intention to naturally flow with excitement and joy and sacredness and happiness. And how can you feel that way?
I think one of the things that we've discussed, and it ties into what you're saying, is learning to navigate energy. Yes. Because everything is energy. And if we can really get into more of that simplistic state of mind and step out of this world that we have just been encompassed in, where everything is outside and our self-worth and our self-value comes from all these external things. I mean, it's no wonder that we have so many mental health issues. We have so much depression and anxiety and all of that, because it's a hamster wheel that it's never gonna be good enough. So,
well, when we were together on our communities and sharings that we did last week, what we're finding more and more often is that so many that are awakening are just choosing, when we look at everything as vibration, just forget right now that we're looking at the world as physical. Because when you look at a world as physical, it's from all the vibrations that we've been creating, the beliefs we've created for eons. So what your outer reality is only your template to begin to create and infuse the heavens from within. We are meant to create heavens from within, not just regurgitate what was. So the outer reality is like a facade and it's like an illusion. So just have it be okay. It's like the stores in the mall. It's your starting point. So if we see everything as vibration, and there's these vibrational, little pellets that are just all in a motion like this of the chaos and the confusion, because everything's breaking down. These packets and elements and particles are in confusion because the routine through which they lived within is now breaking apart. So that means that the structure of their reality, the assimilation that they were living within, the program that was living within, those structures are now breaking down. And that's what causes a lot of confusion. That's what causes the innate fight or flight, through which my voice must be heard. I must have a team. I must gain people on my side. The win or lose type of energy, where trying to make others look bad so you can be right, so that you can find and start rebuilding your platform of fear. And us against them, and so on and so forth. That's the continuation of separation, but it's not going to be valid because it's all breaking away. So all of these confusing elements are still, they're kind of frantic in their, everything is breaking down. What we've been finding in our sacred gatherings is that as things are breaking down, and there's a lot of those that are acting on fight or flight or fear, and they just want to keep the fight, and they just want to keep arguing, they just want to keep in that dense experience of routine. Mm-hmm. Many that are awakening and finding their inner sovereignty and their voice to choose are just simply observing in a neutrality and offering compassion and just choosing to create something new, and not getting entangled in the masks or no masks, vaccines or no vaccines, and continuing the chaos of everything breaking down, and staying in the conspiracy theories, because you're just in that mess of everything breaking down and nothing's going anywhere. And so It's okay to observe everything in between, but just understand that when you're observing it and you're becoming aware of it, you're awakening, because then you have that choice through the center of your heart, when you're noticing all of the deconstruction of these fear programs that are no longer there anymore, and there's those fight or flight reactions, people wanting to stay stuck in conspiracy theories and who's right, who's wrong, separation, us and them, win, lose. Those are all of the vibrational particles that are wanting to try and find something to rebuild in separation, but it's not there anymore because the light won't support it. The light will support the ones that are just creating something that is, everything is fluid, everything is natural, we are all one. But once you're aware of it and observing it, you can then choose to step out of it and create something new, and just not respond. You can just choose to disengage. It doesn't have
to. It's really like once you're able to get there, and it can be challenging, it's like watching a live movie.
Yes.
And it's like, you don't realize that you can actually kind of press pause and you can fast forward if something's not resonating with you.
Yeah.
And like, you're really good at saying, if there's a person that, or whatever, a group that maybe you're not resonating with, still allowing them to go through their process.
Yes,
and I think that's we're kind of at this volcano that's exploding, because everybody feels that they have something to say, right? And we've our voices have basically been suppressed for a really long time. So in a way, all this chaos it's a good thing, because it needs to erupt. It needs to erupt.
Yes, because what you're showing each other is that regardless of where you sit, because you might be here in a second and there in a second, because it's always the constant flow of now. So everything is perfect in between. But once you're aware of what's going on, you can just detach and just observe it, because then you're learning as well. You're learning about the vibrational patterns and the threads of where everybody is sitting within is their vibration, their belief systems. You can just offer light and just have them work it out in the way they do. And then you have everything in between, through which, if there's those that are wanting to continue you in their story, that's when you also learn about energy by creating those boundaries, energetic, emotional, physical boundaries, through which you've stated through voice, you've stated through intention, you've had your teams and your guides and assistants to say, I'm no longer going to engage in these stories, this, and this. Or no longer engage in this and this and this platform. So give yourself those rules of engagement, so that you're not going to continue to be, tempted, if you will, to fall back in those vibrational threads and cords, because you don't want to be distracted from the path that you're really meant to be on, which is just creating light and natural flow. Life doesn't have to be a constant argument and defense. You shouldn't wake up every day feeling like you're defensive about everything, or having to prove your point, or prove your worth, or prove your validity on anything. There's no proving of anything. That's
a really good point.
Yeah. And just honor
set yourself up for success. If you're serious about your
radical acceptance. Yeah.
Right.
Radical acceptance. Is that the
Mm-hmm.
every moment is just I accept everything the way it is right now, and I allow spirit,
Mm-hmm.
source, God, my teams, my soul to bring to me what I'm in a vibrational match of. I accept it all, but I can choose to
Mm-hmm.
accept that that's where every party is of my family, of the collective. I'm going to choose to create this now. I'm going to create acceptance for, you're not meant to change anyone. You're not meant to bring anyone along with you. You're meant to fully be who you are. And in doing so, allowing everyone their highest potential to also choose from the highest soul level of free will. Because every soul's experience has their own innate path that they're meant to explore. And they're meant to go through the soul lessons that absolutely must be taken to transmute and absolutely navigate the all density of all navigations of energy. We have to know how to navigate energy. Just like the
Right. There's
program.
no pass go. There's no
Yeah,
pass go. You don't get from
yeah.
A to Z. You got to go B, C,
And that,
D.
yes, because when you step out of these stories, when you step out of the collective conformity and your mind actually clears and your bodies and your fields actually clear, you absolutely think, wow, I can't believe I was stuck within these programs that they weren't mine. These stories were not mine. You go through this
Yeah.
process of, it's like a radical wake-up call, and it's just like, I can't
Yes.
believe I spent so much time in those stories that don't serve me. They don't nourish me. Then you absolutely start setting those vibrational boundaries to say, no longer will this affect my inner peace. Absolutely not, because you then have more self-value. And that's all about redefining who you are, what you're worthy of, and what energy vibrations you're starting to call in, because you absolutely understand that there was a lot of time wasted and nothing got resolved. Those are those karmic cycles that never get resolved. They just keep going back and forth and blaming and nothing.
That's such a good point. That's such a good closing topic for us.
Yeah.
Is really, I look back now at certain things, and I'm a constant work in progress, but I look back now as to what you're saying about some of these vibrational stories, collective dogmas that I was involved in.
Yeah.
And I look back and I think it was actually really easy to step out of it.
Yes.
And of course, hindsight's always better, but it's actually so easy to step out of it.
And so what they're showing me now is that oftentimes, and this might be a good thing that we end on, is that oftentimes we tend to get so stuck within the stories because we feel obligated, because we think that it defines us. If we let go of it, what does that mean who I am now?
Yes.
And that's, we can take that if you belong to a frat, if you belong to, a collective group that you belong to forever, family. But that particular family was never meant to stay with you for a certain amount of time. They were just supposed to be there for you to support this opening. And then you're supposed to bring something to them by doing this, this, and this. And then you meet up here, here, and here. So again, if we're just flowing with spirit and just understanding the absolute unconditional trust, everybody will be where they're meant to be. And you can start threading yourself in these infinite number of ways that absolutely serve the greater collective and your soul. You don't have to feel obligated to certain stories that leave you in limitation in any way, because that doesn't define the totality of who you are, and nothing could.
Perfect. Perfect.
That's awesome.
And I could go on and on and on, but I know we want to keep our time together, within a certain time frame for all your beautiful viewers. But there's so much to unpack.
Let's close off with you stating from your mastery perspective the importance of whatever it is you want to have an important statement on. We'll just end off with our unique mastery perspectives and how we enjoy collaborating, as we want to allow everyone to their own unique sovereign perspective. And so it's important that we come from that perspective as well.
I would say my own unique mastery perspective is I learned how to go within and connect with myself and step out of these stories that I thought that I belonged to by doing those morning and evening affirmations. And I held myself to this. And I don't always have time. Some days I have more time than others. But when I first started, I felt like I had to cover everything. I had to cover every little thing because, oh my gosh, I had to check off the box, and it's so cute now that I, look back at it. And so that's why I thought, just encouraging people to do, even something simple in the morning of, you know, my intention is to align with my heart-centered higher self for the betterment of myself, my collective, Gaia, humanity, all of it. And like you said, you're drawing in those beautiful light codes just by saying that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this big long paragraph thing that I was sitting there reciting, but I did it. And that really helped me. And then at nighttime, doing the self-love back to yourself, saying, you know, and the nighttime is exclusive for you. So it's, you know, I am proud that I fulfilled maybe the intention I set today.
Yes.
Or I'm so
Celebrate.
excited about this new connection that I made, and I learned something new about myself, or I'm inspired in a different way, and giving that love back to yourself, because the stories that we're stepping out of in the 3D matrix all kind of revolve around, you know, us being hostage to a lack of unworthiness and lack of self-love. So doing that at night has just been instrumental, I think, in developing my humble mastery.
I'm so proud of you, because I know that they're because you were able, when we first connected, to take on so much information that I was downloading, and your teams were allowing you to soak in. You know, I downloaded, I think, a book of enlightenment and ascension experience that we had in the sessions that we had, and you absolutely took on a whole book of information multidimensionally, and so you were ready for it. And so they just wanted me to share that with you, that you have taken on so much, and you've done it with great excitement to understand that you're able to do so. And everybody, as we said, is at their unique pacing and their place within their ascension spirit experience. So celebrate. Don't forget to celebrate and open into that celebration of who we each are and what we can move through as, wow, we really did that well today. Wow, how can I do it differently tomorrow? How can I really ask spirit to bring me another experience so I can practice this with other people of other dimensions, of other frequencies? And part of my unique offering as the mastery experience upon earth and the collective and Gaia is my experience, and that I'm moving more deeply within, is to carry myself as a soul and to honor all of the collectives that speak and live through me as I walk as an experience of the soul, and I walk as an experience of Gaia, to offer a voice for her, to offer the experience of the voice for the children and the many beings and the many indigenous and the many tribes that are not seen and unheard and have not been heard for many generations, because they're held within the collective stories and the vibrational patterns that we are all transforming and transmuting. And so I'm very grateful. And also, thank you, collective is now coming in from the celestial teams and the celestial councils and the galactic federations that are all preparing each and every one of us to the meeting of our first protocol and first contact, as we're expanding out and living as the soul of who we are, remembering that we are on light ships and we are in councils and we are in meetings of all earth and all galaxies and federations of evolutionary light programs in assistance of humanity to see its love and light within all things, and just simply love. And so it's a beautiful experience to harmonize into the soul of who I am and carry all energies with me, because it's felt like quite a lonely ride for me. So I'm very, very happy, and I'm so very grateful. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Councils of Light.
Thank you. And so I was in bed last night, and I always have my window so that I'm looking out as I'm falling asleep, so that I can look at my light ships and all the light ships that are with me. And I do my light work, and I send out prayers, and we play vibrationally. And there was a light ship that just dropped out of the sky. And it was so beautiful. And then we celebrate and we do our telepathic songs and things. So they're always with us. So just know that at every moment there's spirit around you and with you. In your room, you have so many beings in your room with you. You know, you have the angels, you have your passed on family members, there's vibrational threads, and there's the weaving of the omnipresent with you at all times. So just know that you're never alone. You're always being held and adored for your unique path, and just allow yourself to know it of yourself. You're one. And we want to thank you, and we love you so much. Anybody that would like to donate and join us in our sacred communities of light, and join us in our ascension classes, our mastery classes, or vocational coaching sessions, and anything else that you would like to join us for special ceremonies and activations. And I think you have some classes left, Christina.
I do.
Yeah. I just remembered that.
I just remembered it too, actually. I have two. I want to do one with you this month, and then next month's my birthday. So I feel
Oh,
like we could
wonderful.
maybe do
Yeah.
something big.
Yeah. So I never keep track of them. So just make sure you email me whenever you need that appointment. So we'll make
I
sure we
will,
do
I will do that this week, so to get one for this month booked, because I know you book up
Yeah. So
because
that's
you're
great.
needed everywhere.
Yeah, that's so fun. Well, I'm so happy that you're tapping into and living your vocational presence because you're needed on this planet. And again, you have a great capacity for just allowing yourself to be the master that you are. So just know that you just got to open and flow and just be the natural love that you are, and you'll be blessed in every way. And spirit will align you with your path of the highest and the most exciting for your vocational journey and exploration, because we're all meant to go here and there, and it's never meant to be just a straight path of what you think it might be. It will be many things in between. Just allow spirit to really, delight you, and bring you that majesty. But it's up to us to be open and living in unconditional trust that all is well, and all will be exactly where they're meant to be. Spirit has a plan for everybody and all things. Just allow and get out of the stories that keep you dense and limited, because there's so much ill health that's brought from those stories, and it really stagnates the body, it stagnates creativity, it stagnates your heart and your wellness, and it's really depletion on unnecessary. It's really unnecessary. So look every day when you're going through your daily planning, you're going out for the day, what is unnecessary? What can I really release from? And knowing that you can refine your day to be as simple as possible and just move into greater simplicity and flow and natural health and wellness, and really releasing anything that is problematic, dramatic, and anything that keeps you rambling in energies that are just inconclusive. It just keeps cycling inclusivity, and you want to allow yourself the inclusivity of just joy and naturalness of flow. And so we want to thank you. The donation keys are below, and we thank you so much for joining us on this weekly special event.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love you. Bye, Christina. We'll talk to you
Bye.
soon.
Okay. Bye. Love you.